Good morning, everybody. It is August 19th, about 9:20 a.m. I've been up since 8 a.m. because I'm trying to slowly get myself used to waking up early in the morning time for work. Today I'm going to try to be doing a variety of different projects or whatnot to help keep me awake and keep me going and try to stay as awake as possible until 9 p.m. tonight. I'm hoping to be able to fall asleep before 10 p.m. That way I get, at least 7 hours worth of sleep, maybe more. It depends on how tired I can get myself to be by that time of night. How much noise Jerry Ann makes as I'm trying to go to sleep. How much sunlight is filtering into my bedroom. Today's weather is only supposed to be about mid-80s, but it's supposed to be overcast. So that will help me with going outside to doing the outside projects because I got outside projects to deal with. But with all that's going on, I am trying to keep myself busy and still be mindful of Jerry Ann's possible needs. Now, I set my alarm for 8 o'clock this morning, but I woke up at like 7:55 and just laid there until 8 o'clock when the alarm went off. Partially because I didn't feel like getting up just yet, and partially because I was kind of like, you really going to do this thing, Jim? You're really going to try to get up this early? Yes, got to get my body and my mind used to getting up early to function. So I'm trying to move forward with my plans and my desires, and yes, I'm being mindful of Jerry and her desires and her needs, but I'm not going to allow, no, that's the wrong words. I'm not going to let it get me so frustrated or anxiety ridden or stress ridden or any of that stuff, because it's not good for me. It's not good for my health. As much as I should be, or I have been, monitoring her health as, not only just her husband, but her current healthcare taker, or that kind of thing. I'm trying to focus. Come on, nose, don't go get me. I'm trying to deal with allergies right now because my sinuses are just kind of like. Maybe I should blow out the candles. Maybe it's the candles. No, the candles have been going for over an hour, so it shouldn't be the candles that bug in my nose. But I'm gonna move forward with all my plans, all the things I need to do, all the things that I plan on doing, all the things that have to be done. I'm moving forward with those. I'm kind of sure that Jerry Ann has her concerns over how long it's, when am I going to be able to work on the craft room and whatnot. And I kind of told her the main reason why I don't want to work on the craft room is it's mostly her stuff, and she should be either there in the middle of it with me, not just by FaceTime or anything like that, but physically. So that, in fact, I kind of pointed out, what's the sense of trying to do the craft room when you're not going to be able to go in there and do it? And of course, her rebuttal is, I don't know when I'm going to be able to go do it, but I want to be able to go in there and start crafting as soon as I can. So it's one of those balancing acts that I feel like I have to be the one doing the balancing act because, I don't know why, to be honest with you. I'm having enough trouble doing my own balancing act and balancing myself out, and I don't need or can handle adding more to my current situation. And that's what caused a whole lot of problems last week. Is I was having trouble balancing my own stuff out. That having her add more to it was just sorry, more than I can handle. So I got to the point where I had to let it go. Which everybody I've talked to said that, it's good to let it go. You just have to be more mindful of how you let it go. And I was like, well, that's why I need a doctor and more and people I can call or talk to about the situation without having them go into a defensive stance for Jerry. But I'm just excited to try to, I'm excited because I'm starting a new chapter with my life, between getting the help that I need, getting the job that we need, or I need, whoever, whatever. I say we because the factor, the money will be used to help pay our bills. So it's kind of like one of those. And yeah, I've heard everybody say that or suggest that I should get an account for myself and just pay what I need to out of there, and whatever is left over stays put. I tried that once. Did not work out too well. Because it was too complicated for me. I have issues, and this is one of the biggest reasons why I need Jerry, is I have issues balancing books and doing my own finances and stuff like that, because I really suck when it comes to money and numbers. Especially when it comes to money and numbers, because when you combine numbers with money, I just kind of go, what did I do wrong? Did I overspend? Did I pay too much? Or did I overcalculate of how much I have compared to how much is going out? That kind of thing. That's one of the reasons why that's one of the reasons why I don't do my own finances, because I have trouble with that. And also one of the reasons why I believe that the Norsemen were smart by letting the women take care of things that had to deal with money and numbers, because it's a strong belief that Nordic women, or women in general, it doesn't have to be Nordic women, but women are smarter with numbers and money than men are. And that's because women are, according to the Norse people, women are Christians would say bewitched, and Norse people would say gifted with knowledge of that nature, because it wasn't not that it wasn't a man's thing to do, but it was just more difficult for a man to think about, money exchanging and things like that. Men back then were, if they weren't farming and whatnot during the off season, during the on season, they would go raiding and whatnot, if they were lucky enough to get picked or sign up in the winter after last year's raiding season. Men were the builders and the craftsmen and whatnot, even though women were great. In the Nordic world, it was men were doing like the raiding, helping with the farming if they weren't raiding, wood crafting, building, metalsmithing, things of that nature, while the women were helping with the farming, helping with the men and women would help with raising the family, taking care of the farm when the men were around. When the men weren't around, it was the women and children taking care of the farm. But the women were also the cooks, cleaners, seamstress, and shield maidens. If you were considered hardy enough or tough enough to be, skilled in battle like a man was supposed to be, you would be going raiding with the husband or the men. That's why women back in those days, especially women warriors, weren't called warriors, they were called shield maidens. And yeah, you read Nordic history and you see that the shield maidens were right there in the front line with the men, ready to spill blood and do whatever it needed to do to do their raiding or their battles. But anyhow, let's read from American Cozy real quick. I got this part that was known as tapping into the magic of impromptu celebrations. And impromptu celebrations is basically like you get invited to a party, or you decide, hey, the weekend's coming up. It's a 4-day weekend. Let's have a bunch of friends and family members over for just a impromptu celebration, whether it was a birthday party or just it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be any holiday or particular reason. It's just like, it's a nice week. It's a nice 4-day weekend. Let's plan out a party on Friday and have some sort of impromptu on Saturday. But she talks about having a crate or a box with, impromptu party supplies like classical music CDs or some kind of quiet listening to for quick companies coming over type background sound. Getting, setting up, a couple candles out and about for, some lighting. She also talks about having a couple throws, covering up areas on your couch or whatnot that you can't just clean up or flip the cushion over because of pet stains or accidental coffee or soda stains or whatnot. A bottle of wine for those who drink, and like a grab bag or a bag of like pistachios or some sort of little snack item with bowls to put the one bowl for the actual pistachios, another bowl for the shells. I think that's kind of great because you can basically make a bag of goodies, whether it's Chex Mix, a bag of Chex Mix waiting to be popped open to be poured out into a serving bowl. Pistachios that you can easily, bowl of pistachios, empty bowl for the shells. Maybe even stick a little label on the one bowl saying shells, so people just don't go, why is there an empty bowl next to the, oh, okay. It really depends on your level of impromptu-ness. Because I have social anxieties, it's hard for me to do impromptu. I am the type of person who likes to plan everything out. Okay, the party's at such and such a time on such and such a date. So the day before, I need to make sure I've gone to the store for supplies, whether it's a couple bags of different flavored Chex Mix, or maybe I'm making my own little like Chex Mix type deal. So I need to go out and buy the different ingredients for it. Maybe you don't make Chex Mix. Maybe you don't like Chex Mix because there's too many ingredients within a pre-made Chex Mix that it's easier for you to make by just taking various types of Chex cereal plus maybe nuts and pretzels. Maybe you don't like those little thin crackers or whatever they're called, you leave those out. You substitute it for something less dense or less crunchy because it hurts, because it's just too stale. Is the way I'm gonna put it. Because it's basically what it is. It's like you're taking a dinner roll or something like that, and you're slicing it really thin and toasting it, which makes it stale. You don't like that. So instead of that, you put peanuts in there. Maybe you don't put any nuts in there because you might have a guest that has a peanut allergy that you don't know about. So it's basically two different types of pretzels. You get like regular twisted little pretzel bites and the sticks. That way you don't have to worry about the dehydrated bread or nuts. Maybe instead of that in the factory, maybe you have like a bag of regular M&Ms for the people who like sugary stuff. Background music. For a party, I would suggest anything that's not got a heavy beat or loud noise, like classical music. Maybe it's the sound of nature. Maybe you play a CD that has nature sounds. And not very many people are going to fall asleep to nature sounds when there's a party going on around them, unless you're like me, where it's just like, there's no interesting conversation, there's nobody I want to talk to, I'm just going to sit in my little corner and, oh, nature sounds, okay. Scented candles. Well, the problem with scented candles is maybe you have somebody who has allergies, severe allergies, and the smell of scented candle is going to aggravate the allergies. So you want like a non-scented beeswax or soy wax type candle. So there's no smell. And some of those candles are great because, let's say you get a soy or beeswax based candle that's got citronella. It does not have a heavy smell, and if you're having the outdoor party, that citronella is going to keep the mosquitoes and other little biting bugs away. And I tell you, some of the best impromptu parties that I've ever heard about or been to are usually, hey, I'm having a barbecue, it's a great weekend, it's nice outside, why don't you come over for, the barbecue, bring a side salad or a side dish. I'll provide the burgers, dogs, chicken, strip steak, steak that I've turned into teriyaki, whatever. I think those are the best ones because it's like you're out there and you see a neighbor or somebody walking around. You're like, hey, come on over. Why don't you enjoy a hot dog with me or something? Or you call friends or family members or invite members of the church, whatever. It's Sunday, basically my church. My church has these periods when I used to go to it. I don't know if they do it anymore because most people don't go to churches anymore. They watch everything via the internet. So there's more people who are watching what's going on at my church via the internet. But when we had our gatherings on Sunday, there was always that time of the service where they took a brief pause and said announcements, and they talked about the different things going on. And then my one pastor that I really liked, who's retired now, asked, is there any other announcements after the main announcements were done? And that would be like the perfect time on a Sunday to stand up and go, yeah, I've got an announcement. I'm throwing an impromptu barbecue at 2 p.m., which usually gives the congregation 2 hours to go home, change, and bring a side dish. So it's like I stand up during the announcements going, yes, I'm throwing an impromptu barbecue. I've got more than enough hot dogs and burgers. If you guys want to bring side dishes or something that you want to be cooked on the grill, come on over 2 p.m. Anytime after 2 p.m. I'll probably be doing this for from 2 to 4 or 2 to 5. That way people can come by and set up little picnic set up tables for the side dishes and whatnot, and boom, impromptu barbecue. If you don't go to church or anything like that, jump on Facebook send a message, jump on Facebook Messenger, type up a message, click on all the people that you want to invite and say, impromptu barbecue, come on down. There's all different ways of announcing a impromptu barbecue or something that you want to do for a select few people or like I said, the church. Now, the problem with that, doing something like that, an impromptu announcement of a barbecue at church, is this is a time of year where we are getting our college students back, and the bulk of our congregation right now has been college students. And college students, they're like, oh, free food, all I have to do is bring a side dish or something I want. Yeah, I'll be there. You're going to provide the food, all I have to do is provide drink, stuff to share. That would be something my dad would do. Hey, yeah, it's Sunday evening from 2 to 4, 2 to 5, or whenever I decide to stop cooking. Bring your favorite side dish and drinks. I'll provide the meat and the setting. That's something my dad would do I'm pretty sure if my dad was living here and now and with our small church, not only would he end up becoming a deacon, I don't know about deacon, but he would get involved in the higher ups, the decision makers and whatnot, just because of his personality and the fact that he would be like, almost every other Sunday, he'd be like, impromptu barbecue. Or when we had the potlucks, some of the foods that he could bring to a potluck would put, yeah. But my father was the person to go to when it came to parties or family events or anything like that. There's an eyelash or something in my field of vision. There it goes. I'm sorry, folks. But anyhow, yeah. You want to do an impromptu party? There are so many different ways to invite on the spot type situations. Or maybe you have family and friends that come over and visit constantly, or every other weekend or something like that. That can be a impromptu party. Oh yeah, let's go to grandma's house or mom's house because she's always got the best games to play, or best whatever. Then she goes to talk about taking the celebration outdoors. And she talks about how Danes enjoy water, lakes, beaches, pools, anything is water in Denmark. Well, of course it is, because nearly Denmark sits, like here's Germany. Denmark will sit up here above Germany, and it is surrounded on 3 sides of their country is oceanfront property. So of course they're going to love water. That and the fact that they have beautiful pictures I've seen, they've got some beautiful lakes and rivers. So yeah, you can go canoeing, floating, sunbathing, swimming, beaches. Now here in Missouri we have rivers, so we have float trips. There's a couple, I wouldn't call them lakes. Well, yeah, kind of lake-like, but mostly rivers. Now, we have here in Rolla, anybody who lives in my area, central Missouri or Phelps County region, you might have heard of something called Fugitive Beach. It was an old mining quarry that, for whatever reason, they stopped using it, and a local retired sheriff bought the property, had it filled with water, added filtration systems and whatnot that you would find at a pool. But they call it Fugitive Beach because it's got like white sand or white gravel. He set up a cabana with food service, and it is our local. It's basically our local beach. For a lot of our locals go to it because sometimes our only public pool that we have here in town is pull up. Excuse me. Why am I doing this? Nerves. I had an itchy spot. But yeah. If you have your own backyard pool, or you know of somebody who has a backyard pool, or you know of a public beach or someplace that you can go to have a beach party, or maybe you like floating down a river, the only thing I would suggest is one, sunscreen, and more sunscreen. Of course, with the way things have been lately with COVID and whatnot, I'm not much of a beach person. I love a good pool, but our world situation because of this pandemic is kind of screwy Louie. So I'm not saying don't have a party or anything like that. I'm just saying be mindful of everything. I don't know. Backyard party. If you got a big enough property to have a nice backyard party, which not everybody does, because if you live in a big city, sometimes your backyard is about as narrow as your house is, because that's how close some of the houses were in New York. But yeah, backyard party. If you don't have a backyard, especially those of you who live in the city, my suggestion would be find out about your local parks and whatnot, and what you can and cannot do. I know some of the local parks in New York will either provide you a pavilion where you can have a little barbecue, because they have the little barbecues there, and the only thing they ask you to do is police your garbage, take care of the area. I know this because every year my in-laws had a family gathering. And what I mean by a family gathering is all the people who lived in New York, as well as a number of different families who flew over here just for the family gathering from Ireland, which was always fun, because when they had that big old family barbecue, the place where we rented, they always said, you're good to be there. You know, we'll take the rental money. You know, they charge so much money for rental. The only thing they ask you to do is don't leave your trash, but try to keep your trash in the trash receptacles. They will clean up the receptacles, but they wanted you to police your own garbage so it's not just loose everywhere. And that was great, because the first time I went to Jerry Ann's family gathering, I was like a little nervous, because okay, I know Jerry and her immediate family, but all these other people were just like who dat, trying to learn everybody, which was hard to do. But when we got there the first time, and I helped get our cooler and whatnot to the pavilion, and as soon as we're walking up to the pavilion, as soon as I get into earshot, I'm hearing bagpipes and marching band music, Scottish bagpipe marching band music, and I just went, you sure this is your family? Are you sure that these are your family members? Oh yeah, they're my cousins, from my mom's side of the family. They're from Ireland or something like that. I just kind of went, say what? So I was kind of excited about that. But family gatherings, especially if you have like once a year family gatherings where you try to get as many family members from wherever they're from to agree to meet up at a location at a certain time of the year. That's great, because that way your kids, if you have kids, can play with their cousins and family members from all over the U.S., and if you're lucky, from overseas. I highly recommend it because every time we went to this family gathering for her side of the family, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Even though I wasn't active in the egg toss or water balloon toss or any of those games, I was enjoying myself just because I got to sit there and listen to the Scottish music and listen to the people talk about family members from overseas. That was my cup of tea right there. I was just like, oh yeah. Yeah, I've never seen Scotland or Ireland, but my dad was stationed in Germany for 3 years, so I had something to talk about when it came to overseas. Yeah, throw a barbecue. I was talking about that earlier when I was talking about impromptu parties. Everybody loves a good barbecue. I don't know anybody who does not love a good barbecue. And if there are people out there who have either A, never had barbecue, so they don't know what I'm talking about, or B, don't like barbecues, it's like, what kind of things do you have at your barbecue? Have you never tried anything other than hot dogs and hamburgers? I mean, you can grill chicken or steak on an open flame. You can even cook pork steaks on an open flame. If you're pre-planned it, you can make kebabs. Whether you want to make pork kebab, chicken kebab, steak kebab, lamb. Never really had, well, shouldn't say I haven't had lamb, I just don't remember it. Even just you and your spouse or loved one, or whoever lives with you, just sitting on the porch with maybe a neighbor or two, or maybe you're a grandparent and you're babysitting or watching your grandkids. Go sit down on the porch and enjoy the art outdoors. Just have to sit on the porch and let the kids play, keep them safe, of course, and enjoy a conversation between you and whomever. Maybe you're a single parent and you have a bestie and they live right around the corner. Invite the bestie over. Let the kids play together in the backyard while you and your bestie just sit on the porch enjoying the sun and nature and gossip, conversation about work, conversation about some of your crazy neighbors, whatever. What's the next one? Hey, go for a picnic. Gather up your family. Maybe your friend's best friend, or whatnot. Just go out to a local park, out to the woods, wherever you want to go and have a picnic. I know picnics in certain parts of this country are very difficult because it's not like you can go to a spot somewhere in the middle of the desert outside of Phoenix or in the middle of Phoenix, like Camelback Mountain area. Some places the picnics are a little bit more dangerous because you've got, let's say Arizona, you've got rattlesnakes, scorpions, black widow spiders, tarantulas in the desert region, and in the northern regions like the Northwest, Colorado, Washington, Oregon, Montana, Wyoming, you got to worry about snakes, bobcat, mountain lion, bears. There's a lot of things to worry about when you go picnicking, but 9 times out of 10, if you're going picnicking and you're playing, I wouldn't say loud music, but you're playing music where there's a constant sound, or you've got kids running around and screaming and making a lot of noise, most of those critters will stay away. The snakes, they don't like the vibration. They'll head the opposite direction. Bears, they just don't like the noise. The only animal you'd have to worry about out in the high country, as I call it, would be your mountain lion, because mountain lions are apex predators, and they will find a rocky crevice to overlook your situation, and if a child or anything that they think they can take down separates from the main group, yeah, you might have to worry about that. But that's a rarity. I mean, literally a rarity. talks about making a party out of a good deed. So basically, like, let's say you have a child, and your child gets a high grade, or a child does a science project, and the science project wins, or gets recognized for its model or whatnot. Celebrate it. You don't have to celebrate. You don't have to go crazy, but kids nowadays, they like positive reinforcement for their good deeds. Even if they didn't win first place, they worked their butt off. They got recognized for what they did. Take them out for a slice of pizza or ice cream, or something like that, to let him or her know that they did a good job. Even if the child does not win a prize or anything like that, still, he worked his butt off. Let him know you recognize his works and good deeds. And it goes the same for if they don't do anything good or whatnot. You don't have to be harsh. There doesn't have to be any capital punishment. There doesn't have to be a lot of negativity. But just sit there and don't. What's the words I'm thinking of? I can't think of my words now. But even if your child doesn't do the greatest, don't let him or her get so down on themselves because they didn't get what they wanted or hoped they were going to get. But just let them know, hey, next year could be better. Next year we'll work on something that's going to blow them out of their seats. Just don't let them wallow in their anguish and whatnot, because I don't know, they can turn out to be like me, a bitter old man who just can't see, the bright side every so often. Because to be honest with you, I wasn't abused as a child. At least I wasn't physically abused as a child. Yes, I got my spankings every so often when I did something really bad, but my parents had a hard time with positive reinforcement of my good deeds and whatnot. So that's probably one of the reasons why I have so many problems nowadays, because I didn't have the positive reinforcements that I probably should have gotten or needed as a child. Well, that's the difference from nowadays, how we raise our kids nowadays compared to how we were raised back in the 70s and 80s. Tailgating. Well, we all know what tailgating is. Tailgating can be quite a fun situation. There are some people I know about that are such big fans of tailgating that they don't even go into the stadium. They either set up a radio system where they can hear the ball game, or they've got these new fancy dancy portable projectors that they can set up and project on the back end or the side of a big RV or van, or a blow-up screen in the middle of the parking lot. So a lot of people have gotten so into tailgating that they don't even go to the ball games anymore. They just sit outside the stadium, or maybe they don't even go to the stadium parking lot. Maybe they just find a place that they can set up their tailgate party and whatnot and invite their friends over for it. Bundling up. Yeah. Danes are have winter type celebrations where I have seen so many different stories or videos or pictures of, and I don't even know if this is in Denmark or somewhere up in the Northwest, where people literally go out and they clear off their deck or clear off a spot that has a fire pit. And they gather their chairs around the fire pit and they go out, bundle up in their favorite clothing, their favorite winter clothing with a blanket, and they'll sit there with their friends or family members wrapped up in their blankets with each other, or if it's a couple, they'll bundle up in a blanket together sipping on hot cocoa, making s'mores while the fire pit is going to keep them warm, and just sit outside for a nice winter gathering and chit chat. So yeah, that's what a lot of Danes do. Danes even have a winter recipe called gulag. They've got a recipe on the next page of basically this concoction that they make to help them keep warm while sitting outside next to a bonfire or fire to keep them warm. And let's see, what is this? It's a liquid hagi, is what they're called. It's what is this? This is for 4 servings. Half a cup of honey, 5 whole cloves, 2 coriander pods, 2 cinnamon sticks, half a cup of orange juice, the rind of an orange, 1 cup raisins, and 1 bottle full-bodied red wine, such as, and it gives 2 different ones, Mont Blanc, and the other one is Syrah, Syrah. How do you pronounce that? Drinkable, but not expensive. And it tells you how to make this. It's something you gotta heat up. Hey, if that's one of the many different ways that they keep warm while having their little outdoor, chit chat session, or just bundling up to enjoy the comfort of a roaring fire if they don't have a fireplace inside. But I don't remember if our landlady in Germany in Altley had a fireplace in her house, in her living room area. But from what I remember, most of the houses that I ever got to go into or look around inside, except for the apartment that we were in, well, both apartments did not have fireplaces because the one wasn't really set up for a fireplace and the other one was upstairs. But most of the houses that I remember seeing in Germany had chimneys. Like they had fireplaces in the houses. Which is nice because, I mean, if you don't have the space or the desire to have a fire pit outdoors for year-round usage, an indoor fireplace that you can still bundle up and get cozy with your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever your situation is. I remember, and I never had anybody to bundle up with, but I remember 1 or 2 houses that one house in St. James, which was old and drafty, and yeah, I needed to use that fireplace during the winter time just to heat up the living room, which is where I literally, in the wintertime, I would sleep literally in front of that fireplace because it was so drafty and cold upstairs that it was pathetic. But one of the things that I enjoyed with a fireplace is just to sit there and look into the fire and watch the flames flicker. And when people say that fire is a living force, yeah, I believe it. Because if you've ever stared into an open flame, or even a candle, if you would look at the candle, watch it, way it moved, way it flickered, way it danced, you would think it was alive. You would think it was a living, breathing thing. And even today, with all our modern technology and whatnot, firefighters and scientists cannot fully explain how it works, other than the fact that it needs fuel of one form or another, whether it's wood, grass, oil, gasoline, or some kind of food source, basically, is the way they explained it. So basically, fire needs 2 elements: a food source and oxygen. Yeah, oxygen. And then it acts the way it acts. And scientists have not been able to figure out how to understand its patterns. Like there's no, it's like chaos, pure chaos. And I'm like, well, think of the devastating factor of fire. It's a chaotic thing, but still a thing. But if you're lucky enough to have a fireplace or an outdoor fire pit or something like that, try it once. Just try it once. Especially if you have an outdoor fire pit. Just try it once. Go out there, clean off your seating area, your benches, the area around the fire pit. Get it going. One of the good things is once you get that fire pit going and it starts producing heat, it melts the snow around it. And then just go out there with, in your comfortable winter clothes with a nice blanket, and just go out there and wrap yourself in a blanket and sit down and just enjoy a hot beverage and enjoy the flames, the heat, the warmth from the fire and whatnot. Now, I can understand if you live in the extreme northwest, like Alaska, or if you're watching this and you're from various parts of Europe, it might be hard to do because of the extreme weather. But if you don't go outside to try it and you have a fireplace in your house, an actual fireplace, don't try to make a fire pit or something like that indoors. It's just not smart. Too dangerous. But if you have a fireplace and you don't want, and not an outdoor fire pit, turn your heater down to I don't know, 60, maybe lower than 60, maybe 55, 50. Get that fireplace going. Get a nice warm blazing fire, and just take a chair. Bring it close enough to the fireplace that you can feel the warmth, but not so close that you're putting yourself in danger. Wrap yourself bundle yourself up in some comfortable winter type clothing, and grab your blanket and just sit in front of the fire. If you got children, bundle them up, wrap them in the blanket with you, and just enjoy watching the fire. You'll be amazed how comforting and soothing it is from the warmth and just watching the fire have fun dancing around. You'll forget about how cold it is in your house. You'll forget about your woes. It's one of the things I do miss about a fire pit, especially on a cold night, is being able to sit there and just be comfortable and just let your woes and the negativity of the day just slide away. That's why a lot of especially women's magazines, yes, I've read my fair share, because, well, you're on the pot and there's nothing to read but whatever your wife has left in the bathroom. A lot of those magazines that she reads, and they're not all just women's magazines, her Better Homes and Garden magazine, one of the, I think it was either a November or December edition, made a suggestion, and it was geared more towards women than men, but the suggestion was to make a nice hot steaming bath. Get in, slowly get into the tub so you don't, scald yourself or burn yourself up. But just to sit in a tub with nice warm hot water that's producing steam. The steam will help clear your head, and the warm bath itself will basically help clear your pores and clear your system, and basically the warmth helps basically ease the tension of the day. And yeah, it does. I tried. If you can get a nice warm but not scalding hot, soothing bath, and nobody bugs you, it literally takes the tension and all that stuff right out of you. But anyhow, this video is probably going to be 50 minutes long. Sorry but not sorry. anyhow, I want to let you guys go because I have to start my day. It's after 10 o'clock and I have to start doing whatever I'm going to do. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put them in the comment box. I will read them and address them or do whatever with them. Sorry. If you're new to my channel and enjoyed this little video, go ahead and hit the little subscribe button. And once you do that, you can there will be a little bell that you can click on. Once you click on the bell, it will let you know when I put in my next video. Until next time, you guys have a good day. Enjoy. Bye.